I'm making this video because one of these days, I don't know when, I don't know how long away it will be, whether it'll be today, next week, next month, or next year. But one of these days, either the Lord's going to take me, or I'm going to just finally get the nerve enough up to take my own life. And when I do, I probably won't leave a note. So this is my note. I've lived a pretty rough life. I was abused as a kid, physically, mentally, emotionally. I remember one time my dad making me lay flat on my back, butt naked, and he took a leather belt to my private parts. I'll never forget that. It only happened once, but I'll never forget it. I had to watch my sisters both and my mom all endure the physical and mental and emotional abuse that my dad put us all through. And then when I was 15 years old, my dad forced me to plead guilty because he didn't want to keep going to court with me. He made me plead guilty to a sexual abuse charge, which the judge sentenced me to 10 years on the list. Come to find out, just a couple years ago, that when the judge sentenced me, some sort of new law went into effect 6 months before he sentenced me. They stated that anybody put on the list was on for life or something like that, so I'll never get off the list. Because of that list, I've been gang beat multiple times throughout the years and left for dead. I've endured homelessness, and during that homelessness, I didn't have a place to register a couple of times, and went to prison for it. Did 9 months one time, did 2.5 years another. I did a month in the county jail another time and had to plead guilty even though I was innocent that time. But pled guilty and time served on that one. But I've been in and out of jail because of it. And because of it, because of that juvenile charge, because of the failure to register as an adult, I was pegged as a felon and unable to carry a gun, which resulted in me catching a gun charge here about a year and a half ago. And January 8th of this year, I signed for 10 years probation. If I survive 10 years probation, it'd be a miracle. Not very many people can survive that long of probation. Throughout the years, every woman I've been with has eventually left me because of the juvenile past. And that includes Tanya. With her, though, we was kind of forced to separate. The first time we broke up, she said that she didn't think she could be with a man that was on that list. But then we got back together, and then that whole legal incident happened, and the courts made us separate. I found bliss for one short season in my life That one short season was when I had Dunker's Trading Post opened up and was with Tanya and was raising her kids as my own. During that short season, I felt like I was on top of the world. I felt like I was accomplishing the American dream. I still have my posts on Facebook under my notes talking about it. And no, that's not weed I'm smoking. That's roll your own cigarettes for anybody that don't know me. Been smoking roll your own for years. I don't do drugs. Very, very seldomly drink. I'm pretty clean in that sense. You know, I've been pretty law abiding throughout my life. I had one misdemeanor offense for busting out my sister's car windows one time, and not trying to make excuses, but my anger got the best of me because she was running her mouth, and I think I had a public intoxication when I was like 17 or 18. And other than that, it's been failure to registers stemming from the juvenile case until this last charge for possession of a firearm. But that even stems from the juvenile case. Because if I didn't have the juvenile case, I wouldn't have had the failure to registers as an adult. And if I hadn't had the failure to registers as an adult, I'd have never been a convicted felon. And because I'm a convicted felon, I got charged with the possession of a firearm. So everything that has happened in my life, everything bad that has happened to me in my life has been a result stemming back to that juvenile offense. From being gang beat multiple times, to being imprisoned a couple of times, to now being on 10 years probation, to losing every woman I've ever been with, and usually as soon as they, and all my women except for Tanya that I've ever been with, as soon as they find out about my charge, they're gone immediately. Tanya was the only one that ever stuck around. And even her I couldn't hold on to because the courts said we couldn't. Said we couldn't be together no more. I have no kids. I'll never get to be a father. And if I was to ever by some chance have kids, I know that DHS would step in and tell me I couldn't have nothing to do with them because of that juvenile past. And so because of my juvenile past, I don't want to live. I do not want to live. There's nothing to live for. There's nothing in this life worth living for. Everything that I set out to do in this life gets demolished because of what happened to me as a juvenile.